we've been really big on systemic coaching for a while, and Ram himself has been a champion of systemic coaching. We had a program with Peter Hawkins on systemic coaching. Systemic coaching is something we've been talking about a lot. Ram actually did a series of webinars, which I can also link to in this video, about a year ago on systemic coaching. So now we decided that we need to put this more into practice and figure out a way for more people to get as excited about systemic coaching as we are at Coacharia. So what Ram has done is he's reached out to some experts in systemic coaching and some of our alumni who are experts in systemic coaching. And together they have put together, I'll call it a crash course, but technically it's an introduction to systemic coaching course, mini course. So it's going to be something delivered on Zoom over 4, I think, sessions. So you will be able to earn CCEUs for this program, but it's not a full-fledged systemic coaching program. It's an introduction to systemic coaching. Ram, tell us what people can expect in terms of what this course will cover and who are the amazing instructors that you've put on.
Yeah, Magda, just like you said, this is not going to be, let's say, tools and techniques and processes and a toolkit that is going to be provided to you on systemic coaching. It's essentially an introduction in the sense of what a systemic approach means. The systemic approach has been there as long as humankind existed, to be honest. And in the ancient Vedic scriptures, there is passages which say that the person who sort of feels other people in him and feels himself in other people, that person is the wisest and so on. And there is this concept called Ubuntu in the Zulu language in South Africa, which is about I am because we are. It's about the collective consciousness. Jung talked about the collective unconscious, which is the same as what in the Eastern scriptures we call as a collective consciousness. So the whole thinking about systemic approach existed for a long time, that we are more than what we are. Like John Dennis said, we are not islands, we're all linked together. Now, in terms of organizations, the systemic approach probably came into much sharper focus with Kurt Lewin when he founded the National Training Laboratory and Organizational Development Concepts way back in the late 1940s. And then his legacy in MIT was carried through by people like Edgar Schein, Peter Senge, and now Otto Scharmer and others, who have been maintaining that totality of approach of systemic work. And Peter Hawkins, David Clutterbuck, and others, especially in Europe today, they have really introduced that in the coaching concept, which is something that we feel is extraordinarily powerful. In my own experience, when I work with individuals initially as a coach, I found that how much we change the individuals when they went back into their workspace or any other space that they were part of an institutional space, where the system hadn't really changed or they hadn't been fully prepared to take into account all that the system needed of them, in a sense. There was a tremendous difficulty in terms of sustaining the transformation that they had within themselves. They either went back to what they were before, or they regressed, or they resigned, as it were. They left that space, which was a total waste in terms of the time spent, in terms of the money spent, in terms of the organizations which invested a lot of effort into it. So that is when I started thinking about what needed to be done differently, and moved from individuals to teams along with the individuals. And then this became the systemic approach, where we align the individuals with the teams in any institution in line with what the organizational realities are, what the organizational expectations are. It is as simple as one can make it to be. It's not complex. It's still founded on the basic competency principles of coaching. However, because of the fact it is going to be applied to more than one person at a time, sometimes maybe 6, sometimes maybe 10, even more. I've handled up to even about 30 people at a time in terms of a large group. First brought them together as a team and then worked with them. It's more of an art. It's an art which sort of, you need to be able to sense the energy of the group. You need to be conscious of how different people are behaving in different ways. So it's a little bit more complex not necessarily more difficult, but is a little more complex than what individual coaching is. But organizationally, that is what we believe it's going to be in future. For the simple reason, it's going to be far more cost effective. Coaches typically, as we all are, we charge by the hour. So whether it's 1 person or 10 person, it's going to be the same. So for organizations, all that it requires is to use teams primarily and use individual coaching where it is specifically required within the group that can be identified through the teamwork. And there's a much greater possibility that we are able to align it to the needs of the organization in terms of the pain points. So in a sense, the return on investment criteria will be far, far better in terms of both measurements and also in terms of fulfillment than it would be on individual coaching, where the behavioral changes very, very rarely are amenable to be able to measure in terms of return on investment on the organization itself. So in every which way, whichever way it is done, it's much greater value for the organization. And coaches are, at this point in time, not as well trained in the systemic approach because many of the credential agencies have not really aligned to the systemic approach. And that's happening. Some of us are taking the pioneering step of doing this. So we'll be running many programs. Like Magda mentioned, we did run programs with Peter Hawkins. We will be running other programs with David Clutterbuck and several other people in systemic coaching. We thought it was about time that Coacharia started its own initiative by putting together people from our own pool of people whom we have trained, who have been trained in systemic coaching. And we will start with this introduction. And based on that introduction and how we are able to construct and being able to deliver with that, we will be starting regular programs in future of training people to systemic coaching itself.
And can you just talk about the individuals that are running this program with you? Because there's some really great experiences there.
Yeah, we have a bunch of mostly master coaches who along with me, we were all together in a program with Peter Hawkins, and they have worked with me for a long time. There are 4 of them, 3 of them are master coaches. One of them is as good a coach as a master coach, but she hasn't bothered to yet go into that space. They are Ramesh Sridharan is a master coach. He has got a lot of experience in terms of systemic work, teamwork in large companies. Rama Kannan is another person who has done work with UN organizations, refugees, and so on in teams and groups. Vijay Lakshmi, she has done corporate work, very senior level of corporate work. She's also a lawyer by training. She has been trained in this for a while. And then Shabri Madhava is a 4th. And she also, along with us, were trained by Peter Hawkins. So we have worked together. We worked together for a very, very long time. In fact, each of us has known, most of us have known each other for several years now. So we come together as a team of 5 to be able to take this program through. And later, individually, each one will probably running their own batches of training people, either as pairs or batches individually. So that is something that we will determine. So you have really a great bunch of people. All of them are really master coaches who are already equipped to train other people into systemic coach training, and as well as if later we need to develop more people as trainers.
You forgot one.
Did I?
Yeah, David Clutterbuck.
I forgot David, because David is not really part of the panel as such. He's a guru. So he's coming in there. He conducts his own program. We have a mastery webinar with David. And he has very kindly agreed that he will come in for one of the sessions and he will do a demonstration on systemic coaching work. So we are very happy to have him. We recently had Peter Hawkins with these 2 great people who have done tremendous amount of work in the space of teamwork, systemic work, and supervision. We are hoping to make this into something extremely powerful.
Yeah, so if you're joined this particular intro to systemic coaching, you also get to see David Clutterbuck in action, which is pretty cool. And later in the year, if you are keen to train either further with Coacharia and systemic coaching, or specifically with either David Clutterbuck or with Peter Hawkins, please get in touch because we have master classes with both of them coming up. So if you want it, we have it.